Aye,
Well, hey there, everybody. Guess what? We are here. It is the first Life Downloaded of 2021. Do we say Happy New Year? Is this February? I don't even
aye.
know. But either way, guess what, everybody? It's 2021. We're here. It's Life Downloaded. I am joined as ever by my beautiful podcast wife, the lovely Samantha Renke, who's got a mug in her hand. I think it's herbal tea. I think. So say hi, Sam. How are you?
Hello, everybody. And yes, it is February. I'm a little bit ashamed that we've taken this long to come back to you all. However, we are here. I hope you're glad to see us. I am on the herbal tea. I know normally it's gin. I feel like I'm a
Are you on
changed
a Are you on a health kick for
I am a
2021?
little bit. I am a little bit. So I tried on some trousers the other day and they were leather, really sexy. And then I was like, oh, what is that pouch? Is that like my tucked in shirt? No, that was my lockdown pouch on my belly. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. However, I'm like, this could be a slippery slope to lockdown lockdown hell, shall we say? Because I have been comfort eating, I suppose. I don't know, comfort eating or just overeating because I'm a bit bored.
I think it's a combination of the two because I'm not going to lie. I've been doing the same. And everybody's got that thing that they go to, don't they? For me, it's biscuits. Biscuits are my kryptonite. Like biscuits and cookies. It doesn't help that I like baking and I've got cookie dough in the freezer. That I
Are you
do.
trying to get on Bake Off? Is this what's happening?
See, no, I'm not good or talented enough to be on Bake Off. Like
I don't know.
I make stuff that's edible, and that
We can on the celebrity one, that's fine, because most of them are really rubbish anyway.
yeah, that's true. I could go on Celebrity Bake, but then see, most people would go at this point. I think I don't have the level of celebrity status that you do, lovely
Well,
Madam
I
Rank.
told you, sex tape. We'll been saying it for years, Dan. Sex tape. I can be the PR, so I'll push it on the dark web.
Of course, you said dark web like you actually know what that is, but
I think I watched a documentary about it one day, and I was like, "Oh, okay." So that happens. Yeah. So it's taken less than 60 seconds for me to make some sort of innuendo. I've not talked about my boobs yet.
no, you haven't. Well, you have now.
I have now. I am wearing my fantastic Team Rank t-shirt that someone nicely made for me. Ballsy embroidery.
There
So
you
she's
go.
on Instagram and she's fantastic. So this little picture here is on the nippleage. I did this. Someone got me a bra. So Felicity Hayward, who is a amazing influencer, plus size, beautiful model, she launched her lingerie. So Lola, I'm talking. Lola's in the background.
That's Lola the cat. If you follow Sam and myself on Instagram and indeed Life Downloaded.
Not just like a figment, my imaginary friend. There's
No.
Lola. So Felicia Hayward launched her amazing, lingerie. And for me as a petite woman, and as for a woman who's got like wonky, not just boobs, but wonky shoulders, because I break my collarbone quite a lot. So if you try and put a bra on a collarbone that is really wonky, it's a blinking nightmare. And also being a wheelchair user, when you're wheeling your wheels and then you've got normal straps on, like they fall every 5 minutes. So anyway, I got this bra which was a little bit quite saucy, like a harness. So I did a post. I know, kinky. I did a post and look pretty darn hot, if I may say so.
I'm sure you did.
Pretty much like the little cartoon. Can you see that? The little cartoon of it.
Yeah.
So I treated myself for my birthday because I have turned 35. This is where everyone goes, wow.
Happy
35.
birthday, Sam. 21 if you're a day.
21, yeah. 35. I am 35, middle age now. Is that middle age? No.
I don't know. Depends on whether you're planning on dying at 70, I suppose.
I mean, we're not planning on dying at all.
There you go.
Be this little bobbing head around on like a flying board.
You've watched too many episodes of Futurama, I feel.
Yes. Where were we going with this?
you and your bras and looking hot.
Yeah. So I'm doing my Team Rank T-shirt, and I think by the end of the year, this will be like on everyone's Christmas list.
The Team Rank T-shirt.
Yeah.
So, is there going to be a men's version of the Team Rank T-shirt?
What do you reckon? We'll get one made up for you.
So I'll rock the Team Rank T-shirt. Why not?
Okay, I'll get one. I'll get one made for you. We'll make something for you, and you have to wear it like all the time.
I will wear it. I will wear it live on this podcast as soon as I receive it.
Okay, that's okay. Fair enough. maybe to Tesco's as well.
Okay, if that makes out that I'm venturing to Tesco's in this crazy lockdown world.
I don't go anywhere. Honestly, cabin fever. I went to Poundland the other day. That was the first time. I was just going to stay in the car, but I sat there and I saw human people, and I was like, I need to be near, even though we're not allowed to be near. But you know what I mean? I needed to be in the company of actual humans.
Indeed, and this is a prime example. I am thoroughly enjoying, even though it's virtually being in the company of my lovely podwife.
Oh, I have missed you too, pod husband.
It's true, and also we've got loads of other people saying hi. So Sandra's just joined, and we're already talking food. Adam says he's missed us.
Adam always likes me talking about my boobs.
He does. Amy says hi. She's in the very snowy Scottish Highlands. Her son's out sledging, but she couldn't miss this.
Wow! I feel honoured. Thank you, Amy. So yes, the reason why we've taken so long to get our very cute derrieres back into gear is, I think, like everybody, myself and Dan, towards the end of the year, we were just feeling pretty drained, unmotivated, and needed some, not from one another, because that would be impossible.
Indeed.
Never happened. Just from, having to use our brains. That sounds really horrible, but, just kind of make that effort. And I think irrespective of, a global pandemic, I've always found, particularly in the past few years, which is, a really positive thing, but November and December are horrendous for me, as in so much work. And I suppose that is down to Disability History Month and International Day of People with Disabilities. So I get booked quite heavily in November and December, which is fantastic. But it can be 2 solid weeks of just non-stop. And being freelance, it's not a 9 to 5. So one morning you might be up super early for daytime TV, where you're up or morning TV, shall I say, up at 3 a.m. And then the next day you're filming at night something wonderful. So yeah, November, even in a lockdown, I was very, very privileged, very blessed to have a real steady flow of work. So come Christmas or come, kind of early mid-December, I was really feeling it, like mentally and physically. So myself and Dan were just like, you know what, let's do a bit of self-love, bit of self-care, which is super important. And it's something I don't often practice. I'm very good at advising other people to, put a face mask on and eat chocolate. But when it comes to me, I'm kind of my own worst enemy. And I genuinely feel all the better for it. I don't know about you, Dan. Do you feel the same?
Yeah, I always find January is one of the, November, December is generally quite busy because you're wrapping up the year, and January is always one of those difficult months for everybody, I think, because you have the Christmas celebration, but especially
my birthday,
apart from your birthday, obviously, which is a day on everybody's calendar. It should be a national holiday, let's be fair. But I think January is a difficult month for everybody in the fact that you've got those couple of weeks at the start of it where you're not quite in work mode, you're still, trailing off from the festive period, and then especially in the arts because, on a non-pandemic year, it's generally panto and things of, but January, you get a couple of weeks that are a bit flexible. And so, yeah, it was just weird. And I think, we've got all things pandemic as well and lockdown number 3. So I think we just kind of both needed the time to sort of go, reset, and, just go again. But we're here. And now we shall endeavour to make Life Downloaded a weekly spot in your calendar yet again.
Exactly.
Fortnightly at least.
I am. Luke. No, I'm gonna whip your ass, and we're gonna get into shape, and we're gonna do this. You can also whip my ass as well, which is mutual.
Yes, it's a mutual ass whipping relationship. Yeah.
Yes, that wasn't a sexist comment. It works both ways, equality. But yeah, we definitely will. See, I'm still at my mum's. I came, we had that little window of, oh my God, we're actually allowed to go to a restaurant. Like, I think it was like a 2-week,
we did.
Yeah, we're allowed to do stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So I took the executive decision to come back up north. My mum came and picked me up just because she's of an age where she could be more vulnerable, and she's a nurse, and she was in quite a dangerous environment. So we kind of just said, look, I might as well come up for Christmas. I think it was like the 2nd of December. And I'm so grateful because obviously, things escalated in London. I live central London. And I think that it would have gone from putting my risk from about 10% to maybe like 50-odd%. Because I still need people to come and, bring me food and prescriptions and all these kind of things and help me with some, basic tasks. So, I'm quite glad, but equally when you're not in your own environment, I mean, it's great being back home in many respects. And I'm quite privileged, but it's, when you're like 35 and you're like, I can't believe I'm back home. Even when you've made that breakaway.
You're talking to the guy that never left home, so.
No, but I think that's easier. This is not a criticism, but I think it's when you've kind of relinquished all that, and then you come back into the environment, and then you feel, and it's not an accessible home. We've talked about this in the past.
We have.
It's quite inaccessible. So I do feel like Rapunzel, which sounds better than it is.
You've got strange men climbing up your hair?
No. However, my roots are horrendous and my hair is so long. I sat on the toilet today and my hair tickled my bum crack.
Whew.
So we really need to figure out a way of doing something about my hair.
Your hair is quite long. To be fair, so is mine, but mine doesn't seem that long because I've learned during like both crazy lockdown periods that my hair is actually more curly than I ever gave it credit for.
I like it.
So it is quite long, but because it's curly, it doesn't seem as long. But yeah, it's all kind of crazy.
For those of you who don't follow Dan on Instagram, he regularly posts just random pictures of his different stages of hair growth, hair accessories.
Because I'm thrilling like that.
That's literally all he posts, either baking or random bits of his hair. So if you're into either fetish, I would definitely follow the lovely Dan.
You know what it is though? It's because I'm in lockdown at the moment. I'm in my house and days are very similar. Like when we're not in the lockdown world, I'll post stuff about work or going to meetings or being on the train. But I'm in my house all day. So
you keep telling yourself that.
Adam asked me a question earlier. He said, is this a lockdown beard or am I growing it for work? At the moment, it's just a state. I'm always got some frame of facial hair generally. Sam will attest to this. And it depends how often I shave or don't. So this is sort of semi-lockdown beard. I did trim it up this morning though. So, I put in the effort because it's our first...
like it, babe.
Oh, thanks.
Okay.
I put on a shirt, had a shave.
Hey, half an hour ago, I texted you and you went, I'm just eating breakfast.
Well, I was.
So there you go. I mean, like...
I get showered and dressed before I do breakfast, you see.
Okay, I'll totally let you off. Have you missed my abuse of you? Which is,
my life is not complete without it, to be fair.
Exactly. And you're too much of a gentleman to reciprocate, which is probably why I take full advantage of this. No, everyone else would literally bitch slap me. So, That sounds a little bit bullyish, doesn't it? That's like, no. Anyway, we love each other dearly. For anyone who's just tuning in, please do not report me to whoever you report me to. We are practically related, and therefore it gives me that entitlement.
It does. It does.
Take the mick out of you. Okay, so serious stuff, because this is what the public want: is serious, juicy,
Well,
juice.
San says it's like we've never been away, so that's either a good or a bad thing, depending on your perception, I suppose. But I think that's a good thing.
I think it is, because they're back.
Indeed, they're back. They're here. They love us still.
Love us.
She also said maybe we should get a Sam Renke and podcast other half t-shirts. So.
Oh my God! Yes, Team Renke. I'm with Renke. Yes, let's do it.
Team Renke # podcast other half just for me.
I want, yes. We need to do it. Okay, thank you. Who was that? Was that Sam that said that?
Yeah.
That was amazing. Good.
Sam said that.
Right, Sam, you go in, sort that out. you go do that. Yes, serious stuff. So we wanted to talk about two kind of things today, because this is a disability-led podcast in many ways, although we do talk about bum cracks and boobs quite a lot.
And biscuits and alcohol.
Exactly, and cats.
Whatever you can imagine. Yeah,
and
cats.
And hair. However, so I am back on track, because as well as taking a gap from lovely Life Downloaded, I took a gap from my Metro column, which was, again, just to show you how serious I was about taking a step back and just kind of going like, right, I need a breather. But I am in full swing with my Metro, and the rest has done me good, because I am on fire and I am spilling some truths. So
you are dropping them like it's hot.
I am dropping them like hot potatoes. I went very northern then, didn't I?
Potatoes, you did. Potatoes.
So I wrote something on inspiration porn, which I talk about a lot, which I don't need to talk too much about, but it's basically the objectification of disabled people to make non-disabled people feel all warm and fuzzy about themselves. In essence, it's like if you see like a meme on Facebook that goes with someone who might be an amputee, and it goes, well, if you think you're having a bad day, look at this fella. You know, and I definitely have seen a marked rise in this inspiration porn, which obviously was coined by the late Stella Young, who was a fellow OI sister. So we had the same condition. So I definitely feel like I want to keep her legacy going on that respect. But
indeed,
you know, we're not doing much. I'm watching more TV than I probably should in a day. And I'm just seeing, the only way I can describe it, and I don't want to pinpoint specific examples, because a lot of the examples are using minors, children, as aspirational porn. But I just constantly see some disabled person being dragged onto daytime TV who are basically there to be like, well, you know that lockdown's pretty shit and we're all feeling it, but at least you're not in a wheelchair. At least you've not got terminal cancer. At least, and also these people who are in wheelchairs, who for whatever their impairment is or chronic condition is, they've still got a smile on your face. And do you know what? It just really, really rattled me. I have written about inspiration porn a lot, but just really, really annoyed me, because it just reminded me a little bit like a freak show. It's like, I'm not there for you to, in your darkest hour, to go, well, yeah, I might be furloughed, but at least I'm not in a wheelchair. You know what I mean? And it just was just so untasteful. And I think I took it more personally. And this is probably going to bite me in the arse, depending on who's watching this. You know, a lot of the producers and a lot of the people, editors, and all sorts of people that work on particular daytime TV shows, you know, they know me personally. Like I'm friends with them. I mean, I'll say friends, like, you know, I work with them and we are.
Yes, you work with them. And,
you know, like there's these people that follow me on Instagram, like, and yet they're spurting out this crap on telly. So I felt like I just had to be like a Rottweiler and go for the jugular.
Yeah.
And talk about it, because I'll just finish my sentence. In my view, you can call people inspirational. I think we need to feel inspired at the moment. We need people to look up to. We need maybe a kick up the arse, but actually when we put disability into the equation, most people have unconscious bias and they think that our lives are horrendous because of our impairment. And by them saying you're inspirational and then walking away, they are identifying, they're acknowledging all these barriers. They're acknowledging that I can't just go and get any job I want, or I can't hop on the underground because it's inaccessible. But they don't want to do anything to help. They're not going, right, do you know what? Have you got any campaigns happening at the moment, Sam? Or, who should I be following? Should I write to my MP? Should I, you know what I mean? For me, that is the way we should approach calling someone inspirational. What the feck have I inspired you to do?
And this is always, my point on it. If you find me inspirational and, for example, and I'm not saying everybody should do this because my God, but, if you listen to Life Downloaded or watch us live, if you're watching with us on the live recording, and you go, I watched that episode of Life Downloaded and it really inspired me to create my own podcast, to promote my own issues and, do that kind of thing. And we've actually made you want to do something to make positive change, then feel free to call me an inspiration.
Exactly. Or exactly. Or even feel less uncomfortable around disability. If watching us here and going, right, I feel inspired by both of them, but now I don't feel so awkward. And do you know what? That guy that's got Down syndrome that works in Tesco's, I will probably have a chat to him next time. You know what I mean? That is you. To feel inspired, you don't have to do so. It doesn't have to cost you money. You don't have to change your life. You don't have to create a podcast. You don't have to, it could be as simple as acknowledging your own bias. That could be a first start. Following somebody on social media who perhaps has a disability, or reading a book about disability, or, learning when Disability History Month is. So to be an advocate doesn't mean it has to take up a lot of your time, energy, money. You just have to be more aware of our lives. Sorry, I cut you off then. Take stage.
No, but it's true, but it's the case of, be inspired to do something, whatever that something is. Then you have a reason to say, I inspired you to do something. If you watch me get out of bed and think to yourself, oh my God, that must be really, really hard. It's inspiring that you got out of bed. No, it's not.
Yeah.
That's objectification. Because me getting out of bed is not encouraging you to make a positive change.
Or going up to your child and go, stop your moaning because there's worse people off like you. Look at that poor, I think I had that when I was a child. I think every parent has used there's starving kids in Africa. When you're little and you push around your peas and carrots on your plate and your parents guilt you. That's the same, print ideology in as inspiration porn, using disabled people as a little bit of to make people feel morally, more aware of their own circumstances. So it went down really well. It's really funny. I've written about inspiration porn in the past, and not everyone with a disability kind of agrees with my view and Dan's view, because I'm going to try and paraphrase what some people have kind of told me in the past. And they would say, but actually getting out of bed is a massive achievement. And I feel I like it when people go, well done you. And I'm not discrediting that at all. I think, if you talk about the social model, etc., if you there's a fine line between, well, actually what your impairment does or doesn't allow you to do, regardless of your environment. If you've only got one lung, I've technically got two, but my capacity is only one lung. In my environment, nothing's going to really improve that quality. Of course, having a power chair or something like that could make my life easier. So I suppose you could bring the social model in. So I do understand where people come from, but for me, if disability was talked about and normalized, whatever normalized is, I don't think there'd be any place for it, because our lives wouldn't be exceptional. It would just be the norm.
And it's again, we've said it in this podcast, and we've said it in other podcasts before. It's about, inspiration is one of those words that gets thrown around, the same as, in the news recently, obviously the last few days, sadly, Captain Sir Tom Moore. I never know which way around those captains and those sirs go.
Captain first, wasn't he?
It was Captain Sir Tom Moore. There we go. He's sadly passed away the last few days, and everybody looks at him as an inspiration because of what he achieved. And for a lot of people, his actions did encourage them to raise money for charity, to donate, to So he is an inspiration. And yet, I could go on a whole rant because I saw a cartoon yesterday which was ableism personified, but that's a whole different story.
With using him as an example, you mean?
So, I saw a cartoon where, obviously, if you watched Captain Sir Tom Moore do this walk, he was doing it with a frame with wheels on the front. And I went, this is great, because technically, whether he identified as or not, he is a disabled man at 100 years old, and he's doing laps of his garden and he's inspiring people. Brilliant. But yeah, I saw a cartoon in one of the newspapers, because sadly, obviously, he's passed away, where they had him with his frame in front of a giant gold staircase. And my brain just went, come on now. Think about it. Think about it. How are you going to use a frame with wheels on a giant gold staircase? Now, I know what they were trying to, they were like, Captain Sir Tom Moore is going to heaven. There's the heavenly staircase that people associate. But that just shows how twisted society's view on disability is. Nobody went, hang on a minute, could he really manage a golden staircase with his frame with wheels on it? Which was in the cartoon as well, in the drawing as well. So, it was well there as part of who he is. But yet they still went, he's going to magically levitate up a golden flight of stairs. And I think
that's where the original inspiration porn came from. And there was and I don't know his name, and I probably should know his name, but basically someone that I think he acquired his disability, a sportsman. I think he became an amputee, and he was quoted saying, there's the only disability in life is a bad attitude. And I think Stella Young, who coined inspiration porn, or at least pushed it, drove that agenda, was he said no kind of positivity, no wishful thinking, no affirmations, no meditations going to change a staircase into an elevator or a lift, you know. And I think that really annoyed a lot of people with disabilities, because it's like, well, actually it's not so straightforward. But by saying that flippant comment on the only disability in life is a bad attitude, it's like, if you sit me on the floor and take my wheelchair away, yeah, of course I'm still going to exist, and I can still, do things, but I won't be able to do 90% of the things. I still can't climb up onto a toilet from the floor. You know what I mean? So I think that was really damaging to say that. And I think what's even more damaging is when you have someone with a disability that says these things, because then non-disabled people think that it's okay to say that, So yeah, it's an interesting one, and it's something that I still will always bring to light, because I think it affects disabled people so much. And even us being in TV, we battle ourselves with being perhaps tokens at the best of times, but I don't also want to be inspirational. I recently did a little interview for someone who's just starting out their journalism, and I had to, kind of say to her, why have you called me inspirational? And also question the title, where she focused so much on my brittle bones rather than everything else. I'm happy to talk about my brittle bones because it's a rare condition, and yes, it's something I live with, and it shapes who I am. I became a trustee, for the Brought Up Both Sides. So I'm not shy in talking about that. But it just seems to be this fascination, even though I am successful in so many other areas, most of the questions were aimed at my impairment. And it was like, when you're just like, oh my God, I don't know. I just don't know. Sometimes I do feel like it's a losing battle.
Yeah, no, it's an uphill one for sure. And I mean, this again is something that you and I talk about regularly on the podcast, and you can go back through all the episodes on lifedownloaded.com or on your favourite podcast providers. Did you like what I did there? Shameless plug. You can go back through and hear us talking about this, but it's all about, I think as well, the power of perception of disability in the media and and what's deemed acceptable by the media. And that is slowly changing, but it is slow. And, a prime example of that was something that I mentioned to you just before we came on air.
This is a good segue.
I know, see, I'm getting good at this.
Segue.
Something that
I shouldn't have said segue, should I?
No, it would have been seamless, but it's fine. We talked about it before coming on air, and that's the recent Golden Globe nominations. And the very controversial movie music that's been created by the pop artist Sia, which tells the story of a young autistic woman. However, the movie involves cripping up of the highest order. Sia has made some extremely controversial comments where she's been called out because there's been what we call cripping up in the industry, so a non-disabled performer playing somebody that's neurodiverse or disabled. And, she's been on Australian TV and openly said, yeah, it probably was ableism. Yeah, it was a bit of nepotism. And she's been held account to this on social media and blocked various people because of it. And yet, yesterday, that movie was nominated for Golden Globes, was nominated for awards. And it just goes to show the devaluation of disabled people as a whole.
And I think, I mean, you told me about this. I obviously was following the story, and I kind of had to tune out of it because the responses from Sia were just, when you just think, hold your hands up and say, I did a shitty thing, can't do anything about it now, I will in future listen, and I will, bow out gracefully. But she was like a child that was throwing a pram, toys out of a pram. And I just, it was just sad for everybody involved, put it that way. But yeah, I think for me, and I just wrote a little quote for broadcast, because obviously the figures recently that came out, about on-screen representation, representation for disabled people within the entertainment industry, full stop, whether it's behind the camera or in front or whatever, at every level, was like just pathetic. Like the figures were just a joke, So I wrote a little quote about it, and I know that Adam did as well. And I just I think the issue is here. When you talk about ableism or when you talk about disability discrimination, people do not see it on the same level as homophobia, racism, sexism, right? Like they don't. No. They don't. And we can see that in the language that gets used. We know not to use the N-word. We know not to do, there's some, I'm not going to say them, obviously. We know that there's some homophobic slurs that are just, if you were to say them in public, people would just, you'd be an outcast. You'd be thrown out. You couldn't even be fired. Yet I got called a midget the other day on something, and people were like, oh, it's funny though because you kind of are, So I think until we get to a level where ableism is just the same as racism, blah 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 blah, and yes, what you're doing is totally wrong. Because I hate, I really hate that we have been forced as a minority group, being forced to go to compare to others. But I do feel like the only way to get through to some people, particularly gatekeepers, is to go, okay, so that just happened and see has got a Golden Globe. If that person blacked up, would you put them up for a Golden Globe? Golden Globe.
Yeah.
And I hate using that because it shouldn't be, because then you get into the competition territory and who's the victim mentality, and that's not what I'm trying to do.
No,
I'm just
not
trying
at all.
I'm trying to for people to visualize what they are actually doing, because I don't think they are aware.
No, and it's trying to find that moment, isn't it, to make the penny drop, so to speak, to make them go, oh, that is, I hadn't thought of it like that. And sometimes, as much as the reasoning behind it and the history behind it is different, and that it's nowhere near the same battle, and in fact, because of the disability community being diverse as it is, there are people that, and rightly so, that are gay within the disability community and are from an ethnic minority group in the disability community as well. And the disability community has its own issues with amplifying those voices. But I think over the last few years, the disability community has realised this and is trying to do, not always successfully, but trying to do more to amplify those LGBTQ plus and ethnic minority voices within the disability community as well, because they're by no means as loud as they should be.
No.
So I think we acknowledge as a community that we've got work to do, but sometimes drawing those likenesses and those parallels to those other groups can, for somebody that is unaware, all of a sudden give them a level of awareness that they haven't had before, because they've never considered the likeness of the two scenarios, because the LGBTQ plus movement and the racial equality movement are so much older than the disability equality movement.
Yeah, and I think a lot of what the disability community, and obviously we just touched on intersectionality there, we do have groups within groups here, and it's the same with the LGBT plus, groups themselves. They've got, the all sorts going on there, like fractions or kind of enclaves within that group. So we have that, but I think for me, sometimes as a disabled woman and as a campaigner, sometimes what we are fighting for and what we are campaigning for seems like we've kind of jumped 10 feet forward. So I know I touched upon the importance of language, and I stand by that because it bloody is important. But when you've only just had, Tesco's announced that they've got changing places facilities, so that means disabled people can go and have a pee when they go shopping.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. When you talk about them basic human rights, and then you look at campaigns saying, right now, we want you to identify or use these terminologies for us or refer to us, it is important. But sometimes when non-disabled people are so alienated from disability, I think that's where the problem is. It's like, hang on a minute, well, what do we need to do first? And it's so difficult because disability is so personal. My needs are different to your needs, you know what I mean? So everyone's needs are different. So can you actually prioritize someone's needs? Like what do we go on first? For someone, is it language? Is that the most important thing? Or for someone, like myself, is it step-free access everywhere? So I think that is the problem for me as a campaigner, and to be as open and accessible in my education of others. I think that's my biggest challenge, because it's like, well, where do I start? And actually, do we leave some of these other issues like language or to one side and actually tackle things like getting on a bus and not getting kicked off because there's a pram there? Should that be our main focus?
And this is the thing, because I think the equality movement for disability is so much younger. We've got so much more work to do, and it's a case of, we are trying to achieve everything at once.
Yeah.
And I can see why we want to achieve everything at once, but there becomes an argument of, do we need to prioritise things? And that that's a debate that could rage on forever. And in my own personal experience, I can't give you the answer, because I would like it all at once. It's one of those things. I would like it all at once, but I think, especially when you're in the position that you and I are in terms of our lives within the media, be that as actors, journalists, whatever, podcasters. I think we understand that our position also means that we have the potential to move all of those things forward quite quickly. Because if we can change people's general perception within the media and the images that they're seeing of disability every day, then we can make a bigger number of people more aware of what we're trying to achieve quite quickly. And I think that's what you and I try to do.
And I think also, there is a fine line as well, because sometimes I do feel like I pander too much to the needs of non-disabled people. So, for example, I will talk about hard-hitting, kind of campaigns, hard-hitting civil rights that we face daily. Like I've just spoken about them. Access to education, access to, kind of sexual health. All these kind of real big, like basic human rights. But then equally, I am very conscious that when I go on television, I've got my fake nails on, I've got my fake lashes on, I've got my boobs looking great, I look fashionable. There's an element of that where I do that because I kind of like that myself. I like fashion, but there is a part of me that is very conscious that I need to look palatable. I need to look appealing. I need to look like a girl you chat up in a bar, or someone you don't feel uncomfortable around. So I do feel like sometimes, when we're talking about if we're going to prioritize disability kind of rights, who is that for? Shouldn't we be able to go, right, we want more toilets, but we also want you to stop using the word midget? Do you know what I mean? Like, is it like we should be able to say that, because actually it's about us. It's not about making non-disabled people feel less uncomfortable, or able to digest what our needs are. Wow, mindfuck. Woo! Sorry for the F-bomb. It's quite early, isn't it?
It's all right. It's lunchtime.
Did you put the what's it called? Parental guidance.
Parental guidance warning. Yeah, it's live. We're not on TV. We don't have to abide by the watershed.
My mum hates it when I swear. She says it's so not ladylike, and I don't care.
And Sandra's here, and she's dropping in some comments, and she says it's about education and discrimination on all levels, and it's about listening to others and issues, and it is. And also she says bum cracks and boobs should be a new podcast. And
that's what this one's going to be called.
Maybe we should call this episode Bum Cracks and Boobs. Yeah, people will be okay. So there you go. We've named this episode Bum Cracks and Boobs. However, when we talk about inspiration porn, there is decidedly less bum cracks and boobs than the title might suggest. Different kind of porn.
Oh yes. So I actually posted it on my Facebook, and someone who does identify as having a disability. She I don't think she read my article.
Right.
I just think she read the title, and she started being quite open about a time where she was fetishized by a guy. You know?
Wow.
And God bless her, like she really kind of like opened up like publicly on my Facebook, and I was to be like, I didn't have the heart to say that's kind of something different. Didn't want to shame her. So there is a difference between disabled porn and inspiration porn.
There is indeed. But you know,
watch Adam Googling now. Google.
yeah, Adam's probably Googling something. But yeah, you know, the fact is there is a whole community of people out there that do fetishize disabled people. And you know what? If that's what floats your boat, there's no judgment from me.
That is another podcast.
But that is another podcast for another day, indeed.
Probably, I've got many a story.
Probably one of your late night specials that you keep threatening that you want to do.
Yeah, and I think we should do it in our underwear.
See, let gyms open up for a bit first.
I told you I've been doing a cardio. There's this one lady in Canada. She's like I'm so rubbish with names. She is a professional cyclist. Cyclist? She rides a bike. Professional
cyclist, yeah, you were good.
It's going really well, and she obviously has a very successful YouTube channel. So she does workouts, but then she injures herself quite frequently. So she has got not a lot, but some seated workout sessions, and they're great because they literally are just 20 minutes, and there's not much leg movement. You can add a little bit, but it's perfect. So I did that last night, and I've got muscle memory. My abs are going yes, back in the zone. I'll send you the link, Dan, so you can do it with me.
Lisa says that we've been waiting a long time for the Naked Midnight episode.
My eyes.
Maybe we should do a late night sex-based episode. Who knows?
Yes. Yes. Well, we'll do it. We should do it when we're allowed to be in one's company, and I'll get some whipped cream, and we can do all that malarkey. Proper X-rated.
Oh, hey, maybe we should get the lovely Bethany back, because she did come for our sex-based podcast a while back.
Oh, Bethany, yes. Do you know what? Bethany has been talking a lot about her sobriety. Sobriety?
Yes. Sobriety's the good word.
Which I find fascinating because I know that a lot of people with disabilities, can use whatever drug of their choice as a kind of crutch, whether that's smoking, drinking, sex. So I think that would be a really interesting podcast, which she is in America, and I always feel a little bit cheeky when I invite people from across the pond.
Across the pond.
Because it's a bit like, come on, get up and talk to us. But she's amazing. So I'll be in touch with her actually and see if she wants to talk about that, because I think addiction and disability is a fascinating topic which not many of us talk about. It's still taboo.
No, indeed.
So I don't know if I'll have a word with her and let me know if anyone thinks that's a good idea, and that's something we will try and get some more people on. Definitely want to get Simon Minty on.
Yes.
Totally want to get Abby.
Simon Minty of fame of the Ouch podcast for the BBC. Yeah. Is he allowed to podcast transfer? I'm sure he is.
I don't know. No, I've been on his private podcast.
Did he do a private podcast as well? Okay, he's fine.
Yeah. We'll get works both ways.
We'll get some cool people on in 2021. That's the plan, at least.
We will. Just because it makes our life loads easier. But does it? Maybe not. Okay.
But either way, guys, our social media is always open, whether it be Twitter, Instagram, or the Facebook page, or indeed the Life Downloaded website. There's a contact form. If you've got subjects you'd like Sam and I to talk about, please. Within
reason, and Adam, within reason.
Indeed. If Adam, you're watching, that comment is strictly for you. But if you've got items that you think you'd be interested on Sam and I's point of view for 2021, fire them to us. Drop it in the comments on YouTube. Drop it in the Instagram inbox.
Yeah.
Send us a DM on Twitter. All those things, because it gives us content that we don't have to necessarily think about in lots of ways. Let's be honest.
But we still have to think.
We do, but also. It's a case of if there's things you want us to talk about and a conversation you want us to have that you I really wish I knew what Sam and Dan thought about X.
Absolutely.
Then we're happy to do it. So our inboxes on the Life Downloaded pages are always open.
Yeah, because I think we're very, as you can tell, there's nothing we've not really feel. I don't think I've found anything that I feel uncomfortable talking about. So, and I appreciate that that's quite a luxury, mindset to have. And so if you're struggling with something that, you can't voice yourself, or you want to educate someone on, maybe someone in your family, because let's face it, even relatives can be totally ableist.
Oh God, yeah.
May or may not be experiencing that right now. You know what I mean? Even my cats are. I mean, honestly, it's like
damn
totally
cats,
ableist.
damn
Totally
cats.
Ableist. It's like they won't wait for me to I have to lean down to make their food. They just whine at me, like going, hurry up. So yeah, so if there's something like you think that you don't feel comfortable with, then yeah, we will do it. We will do it. And we'll do it free of charge.
Way, because we love you guys. But yeah, no, definitely, because 2021 we want to do more regular podcasts. We're gonna be more regular with putting them back out again. It's all been a bit up and down over the last sort of 6 months or so, but
indeed,
Sam and I are determined to do more. So
yeah, and we said it here, so please peck our heads, chip away at us. Go,
the more you guys go, we want more podcasts, the more we will make more podcasts and live streams, because
that's with no lives. Of course we do. Amazing. I feel a wee coming on, so normally that
generally is the signal of the end of the show.
It's not as strong as normal. I feel like I've lost the wee mojo.
Oh, see, you've obviously not drunk enough of your herbal tea, my dear.
I haven't.
No, you've obviously not drunk enough herbal tea. That's herbal, I suppose.
That's herbal. That is fermented. No, even vodka comes from potatoes. So technically.
Indeed.
No, but I do have a work commitment at 4:00, so I may or may not have had a glass of wine before doing live news the other day. That was fun.
See, that's the thing. We haven't even spoken about your appearances on live news. We haven't spoken about any of that. So do you know what?
Not interesting. I pop up all the time and say something.
We've got content coming out of our ears, but feel free to add to the content you want us to produce. We should probably wrap it up before Sam's.
I can't see. Oh yeah, 52 minutes.
There you go. See?
Not got my glasses on, that's why I went like that.
But Sam says vodka is one of your 5 a day. Martin says thanks, great show, as does Sam. So, thank you guys for turning up for the return episode of Life Downloaded. We're going to wrap this one up. It will be on all your podcast providers within the next couple of days. We love you all, and we'll be back in the next week-ish.
Au revoir, au revoir, au revoir.
You even get Sam singing. See you later, everybody. Look after yourselves. Stay safe. Goodbye.
Bye.